TomoNews presents Cute Baby Animals! Geotagging Bobcat leads to discovery of 2 newborn kittens. Aww, aren't they just the cutest? These little Bobcat kittens were born last month in California's Santa Monica Mountains, where biologist Joanne Moriarty and her team of National Park Service researchers had been tracking their mother's GPS collar through the spring. Using a GoPro to capture footage of a spot she was frequenting, they found the 2 male kittens nuzzling together in a woodrat nest. The little ones, now affectionately known as Bobcat B340 and B341, were then tagged, measured, and returned to their cozy nest. By studying their diets and behaviors, the researchers' findings will aid a continued effort to help protect wildlife habitats in the area. The scientists also set up a camera in the den to watch out for Mom's return. When she got back, though, the little cat pack's stay was short-lived, and they soon moved out of the den, much to the delight of the original occupant of the nest, a woodrat.
Meet the Toronto Zoo's newest and cutest inhabitant, this baby polar bear cub. He was born on November 9th, 2013, and he will one day grow up to be an unstoppable killing machine. Aw, look at his little paws. The Toronto Zoo's mama bear, Aurora, gave birth to 3 baby bear cubs on the same day, each one pinker and blinder than the next. Although zookeepers said this cub initially exhibited signs of weakness, within 48 hours his 2 brothers were dead, making this cute little guy the ultimate survivor. As is nature's way, this adorable ball of fluff will one day experience the insatiable urge to sink his fangs into a zoo handler's throat, rip out his esophagus, and spray red carnage all over the painted white fiberglass glaciers of his enclosure. Can you believe how cute his little button nose is? I just want to squeeze him. Polar bears are unique among land animals because they are the only species that will actively and deliberately hunt humans for food. In Norway, inhabitants of the snowy north live in constant fear that a polar bear will stalk them in the blinding snow, hold them down with one paw, and chew off their faces, while horrified townsfolk run for safety, forever scarred by the image of their loved one's skinless face screeching for help. Indeed, the polar bear is such a formidable killer that it cannot be brought down by a normal assault rifle or a handgun. Residents of the Arctic take high-powered rifles with them wherever they go, for only a massive hunting rifle has the power to crush through the bear's thick skull, and only then if you see it before it sees you. The most amazing thing about polar bears is how adult males will eat cubs of their own species that don't belong to them. Even as the polar bear teeters on the edge of extinction, the brutal facts of life in the Arctic mean this huggable baby cub will only be seen as future competition to any male which turns his gaze upon it. And one day when he grows up, the Toronto Zoo's little cub will be a remorseless killer too. Aww.
Landscaper uses a box cutter to perform a C-section on deer hit by car. This baby deer, who's been named Bambi, was born via emergency C-section on Sunday. Who was the surgeon with the knife, you ask? This guy, a landscaper named Bill Schultz, and all he used was a box cutter. Schultz was driving home from church through Prior Lake, Michigan, when he saw the mother deer get hit by a car. He pulled over and checked on the deer, but quickly realized it was too late. However, he spotted something moving inside the stomach of the dead deer. She was preggers. Schultz whipped out a box cutter that he normally uses for landscaping and made the incision. He delivered the baby deer, loaded it into his pickup truck, and drove 30 minutes to the Wildlife Rehabilitation Center in Roseville, Minnesota. He handed the newborn over to Polly Ricks, who began nursing the deer immediately. They nicknamed the fawn Bambi and say the little guy's on his way to a full recovery.
black bear cub gets his head stuck in a cookie jar, and it's adorable. This 6-month-old black bear cub was clearly just trying to be like his hero, cartoon character Winnie the Pooh. Sadly for him though, his greed for tasty snacks landed him in a tight spot, literally. The adorable bear tried to eat a cracker left in a cookie jar. But when he discovered he wasn't able to get a hold of the sugary treat, he opted to literally use his head rather than figuratively. The little fella soon found out he was in a bit of trouble when he couldn't pull his head from the container. The panicking cub must have been spooked as he proceeded to climb up a tree, but he got trapped 40 feet up. Firemen who found the bear in distress used a bucket truck to reach the hostile animal and had to tranquilize him. After freeing him from the jar, the dehydrated bear was put in water. He was then taken to an animal rehabilitation center and will be released back into the wild after he recovers. And the moral of the story is, well, we're not quite sure, but isn't he adorable?
Meet the new cutest furballs on the internet, European Otter cubs. First, we brought you the world's cutest panda cub, Yuanzai, from the Taipei Zoo. Then we brought you the world's cutest killing machine, a baby polar bear cub from the Toronto Zoo. Now, prepare to make your cuteness gland squirt when we show you clam-crushing baby European otter brothers. Yay! These 2 European otters, or Eurasian otters, were found by locals near a small pond on Kinmen Island, a remote island of Taiwan. 1.5 months ago, they were abandoned by their mother after their home was destroyed by a construction crew. Upon being rescued, they were brought to Taipei Zoo where they were taken care of and bottle-fed. Last week, the cubs got medical checkups, saw a dentist, they had their heartbeats measured, and their rectal temperatures taken, and stuff like that. The 2 cubs are estimated to be 9 weeks old now and are still quite hyperactive, so zookeepers will need to distract them with baby pacifiers during checkups. In order to hold the cubs in position for taking blood, the zookeepers wrap them up with towels like spring rolls, leaving their tails exposed to the vet's needle. The good news is that both of the cubs are pretty healthy. Both of the baby otters are 34 centimeters long with 20 centimeters long tails. The older one weighs 1,190 grams, while the younger one weighs 1,090 grams.
Red panda cubs get their second checkup at Chicago Zoo.
Where am I going? You're going to go there as soon as they're done. Can I see that dog sculptures? Oh, that's because there's poop coming out. Where's sister at, huh?
Baby hedgehog submits adorably to forced bath time.
fox cub rescued from drain pipe in England. This little fox cub in Cuteness Beach, England is lucky to be alive after falling down a pipe and finding himself trapped with no place to go. On the afternoon of May 10th, these wildlife rescuers were called in to save the fox cub after it had been spotted the night before. However, given the network of underground pipes they were dealing with, there was no telling where the little guy might be. The cub's mother, stressed and unable to get to her offspring, hovered near the scene as the rescuers tried to figure out the best way to get the cub back above ground. All they could really do was play the waiting game, and that's what they did, until all of a sudden a little rumbling started to shake within the pipe. When the little fox made his move toward the light, the rescuers were ready and plucked him out by his tail and back up to safety. He was a bit shaken up, and after all, who wouldn't be? But after a quick bath, the cub was placed in a cage and left out in the open so his mother could come and retrieve him. He'll surely be grounded for his dicey escapade, but as they say, boys will be boys.
Boat owner wakes up to find an unexpected guest. Michael Duffy of San Diego woke up to someone snoring and sneezing early Sunday morning. He expected to find one of his friends passed out in a boat bunk, but instead he found this little guy. Michael gently shooed the pup off of his boat, down the ramp, and into the water. He said the little sea lion was actually a well-mannered guest and didn't even leave a mess.
Go. Go. There you go. Hop in. Go. Good job. Oh my God.
Ladybug, the 4-week-old fawn, has lunch with the humans.
Rare white lion born in Brazil Zoo.
German Zoo presents 7 adorable cheetah cubs. These 7 5-week-old cheetah cubs got their first glimpse of the outside world at a zoo in western Germany. These furry little cats were all born on April 28th at an all-weather zoo in Munster, spent their first weeks alive inside the zoo's shelter. To keep these babies in a more natural environment, the cubs along with their mama named Nemoja were moved to the outside enclosure. Despite Nemoja's affection for her young, the cubs, like any other kids, were eager to play outdoors. Zookeepers take care of ones that don't get enough of their mother's milk by feeding them from bottles. The goal for this magnificent 7 is for them to eventually reach a controlled weight where they can survive on meat alone just like their mama. Watch this adorable month-old baby pelican grow up.